Hey, welcome to Guitar Knobs, the guitars, gear, noise, and nonsense podcast, hosted today by these knobs.
Tony Dudzik, Pick Guardian.
Jared Brandon Wound Pickups.
Hey, everybody, it's me, Todd Novak. Welcome to the Guitar Knobs podcast. We are thrilled to death that you are listening to our show, the Guitar Knobs podcast. This is a pretty special show. We're doing this one on a Saturday, which means that we've got somebody coming all the way from somewhere else.
Wow, really?
I know. Yes.
Somewhere else?
Yes. Let's just mix it up real quick and do a quick introduction. Who is someone else from somewhere else?
Somewhere else. Someone else is me, Diego, and somewhere else is Madrid.
All right. Madrid, Spain.
Yeah.
And we are, so far, the internet's working pretty good. I'm going to knock on some wood real quick.
Knock on wood,
yeah. So, Diego, you are the owner and purveyor of what guitar brand?
I am the owner and master builder of Diego Vila guitars.
Diego Vila guitars.
Awesome.
Yes.
And the way that I remember the Vila is not from Bob Vila, but from Pippi Longstocking, the Vila Vila Kula. So, I'm just saying, you know. Hey,
I never realized you were a Pippi Longstocking.
Oh, man, when I was
Todd.
a kid, that was hey.
Really?
Yeah.
That explains a lot.
Yeah. Anyways, we're really excited to have Diego on the show.
Thank you very much.
Everybody out there who's listening has probably seen, especially one of his guitars really making the rounds especially on Instagram. It is absolutely gorgeous. We'll get into all that business in a little bit. Where can people go check your guitars out on the internet right now?
Well, in Instagram, in Diego Vila Custom Guitars. In my website, it's guitars.diegovila.com and reverb, I think, and that kind of stuff.
Okay, perfect. All right. Well, we're going to be really excited to hear about your story and all the things that you're bringing to our guitar community in just a little bit. We've got a loaded show. We're very excited. As I mentioned, as should you be, doggone it.
Yep.
So we got a couple of announcements real quick. We want to thank Rode Mics. Now I wait for those cues. We're using the Rodecaster Pro, this beautiful machine, and I was happy to talk with Nick from Rode, who they've been on a leave of absence due to all the nonsense that's happening. But I was like, dude, are you okay? Are you still working there and everything? And so we had a nice little chat. And we also just had the big Rode giveaway, which we're just thrilled to be able to do. So thank you so much to Rode for providing that stuff to one lucky listener. On Instagram.
That is a lucky listener.
Man, oh man, what a great package. And thank everyone for signing up to win that. We will continue to have plenty of giveaways and junk, and especially on Patreon. We've got a bunch of those coming up, and we're really excited to do. I didn't want to just gang them all up around, I'm trying to spread it out a little bit. So Patreon patrons, you have good things coming to you. We also are using the Procaster mic. I segued into Patreon a little too soon, but that's okay. You'll forgive me, right?
I won't.
Let's use some of that COVID tolerance to allow me to switch segues. And unfortunately, we're missing our articulated arms right now, aren't we, Tony?
I love my articulating arm.
Yeah, I haven't seen my articulating arm in forever.
I know. Well,
But I still love the microphone.
yes, that's great.
Solid stuff.
Yeah, I've got a really we've had an influx of awesome new patrons, and one of which I just wanted to share something. This is from Adam Johnson. Okay. And he wanted to share his 4 on the floor really quick, and we were happy to oblige. So here's Adam Johnson's 4 on the floor. It is a Crybaby bass wah. He uses it on guitar. I'm curious to know what that might actually do that you couldn't get from a, I guess it would be a frequency thing, right?
It's got to be, yeah.
I
It's
think
probably
it would
voiced
just be
for the bass.
a different pot, you know?
Yeah.
Maybe. Wouldn't you think maybe the sweep would be a little different that would, you know, allow for the larger bass frequencies? I don't know. I'm
Yeah.
just talking. I'm
Or
just
maybe
with as many pedal builders as we have in our community here, maybe they can answer that question.
Yes,
You'd think so.
because I don't know.
I have
just
no idea.
guessing.
We're guessing here.
Maybe it's just an inactive pedal but you have to go wow, wow, wow. I don't know.
That's it.
Diego, you're a bass player. What?
Yep.
Can you answer that for us? What does a bass wah do that guitar wah won't? Or why would you use that on guitar?
I don't know. I really don't know.
It is a good question.
Well, you're in good company then. So the next pedal is the Pro. The next one is the Proco Rat. I mean, duh.
Yeah.
You know,
There you go.
Fantastic pedal. I would love to make maybe a version of that myself. I haven't made one of those in a DIY, but
Oh, geez, I think there's tons of kits out there, too.
Oh yeah, lots. Because I like the sound, but gosh, I flippin' hate that box. It is just the worst. I like the look of it. I like that it's old looking and it's kind of funky, but the bottom of it is just it sucks for a pedal board. Because that big screw on the bottom. Ugh.
That screw didn't do
Yeah,
anything.
no, there's
to
a
you.
big Allen bolt that sticks out the bottom of it because
Cool.
on the bottom of the pedal, for any of those who haven't used one of these, it's got the 4 rubber feet which account for this giant Allen screw that's holding the battery slide in. It's one of those things.
But
that's
if you take that off, it does affect the tone of the Rat.
well, not only does it affect the tone, it basically undoes everything. So then you have a hole in the bottom, and it's stupid. Anyhow, I know. Rat stories.
Maybe they should put a tail on it. A rat tail.
Tony, that was the stupidest thing you've ever said.
Oh, I've said plenty of stupid things.
Me too, man.
This is really sort of a classic lineup here. Next is the Phase 90.
Perfect. Yeah.
Oh, I love the Phase 90.
Do you like the
That's a
90
Mick
better than the
Ralph's-
45?
Mick Ralph's tone, man.
I actually like
Mick
the
Ralph's uses
45
a Phase
better.
90.
But
Mick Ralph's a bad company.
yes. You good there, Jared? All right.
I had to get that through because I really like Bad Company.
Okay. Next is the Rode analog delay.
Road?
Next is the Rogue analog delay. It says it's cheap and it sounds very natural. Well,
Wasn't that like the musician's
Tony.
friend brand?
what?
I think Rogue wasn't that like the musician's friend house brand?
I believe you're right.
Yeah.
I believe you're right. Yes. Good info there, Tony. Good, totally useless info. Thank you. So anyways, that's Adam Johnson. And
Has the COVID-19 not taught you anything, Todd, to be nicer to people? Especially me?
the thing is, my desire to do tete-a-tete quips is raised because we haven't been at the same table with each other in weeks, and I miss it terribly. So, I'm like, oh, there's one. I got to go for it.
Well, Todd, in a battle of quips, you are an unarmed man.
Yes, I know. I'm an articulated armed man, doggone it.
Ooh.
All right, everybody. So let's get on to what's going on this week. Tony is going to lead us off, and then we're going to hop over to Diego and find out what's going on in his music world.
Woohoo.
So in my world this week, since officially I am not open, but I have been able to grab some projects from down at the shop and bring them home. I spent the better part of yesterday cleaning up the shop a little bit, which, Todd, you'll be very happy to
Huh?
I would have gone over to help you at the risk of getting COVID, doggone it. Like, seriously, I would love to help you do that. Cause
I would have just liked to watch.
Yeah, well, you should see the bags that are out in the dumpster now. You can go check those out. But that's helping out a lot. I mean, I think it's wise at this time to kind of do take time to kind of reorganize some stuff. I actually have to grab a couple of flat carts that I'm going to use to stack materials on.
I'll seriously come help you tomorrow if you want me to.
That's okay. You don't have to. I wouldn't.
You don't understand. I've been stuck in a house, in a chair, at a desk, at a computer with headphones on for
Let
weeks.
the boy clean your shop.
Okay, that sounds like a plan. But so that's kind of what I've been doing, and I really appreciate my customers' patience. A couple of people have asked, what the status is on their orders, and I've explained the situation, and almost everybody has been extremely understanding and said, "Hey, we appreciate it," and thanks, and so I my hat's off to the patient customers. Because I'm running a little bit longer than I typically do, and but I want to make sure that I can send out a product that I'm proud of too.
Well, in my week, I discovered, not late enough, Dixie's Midnight Runners.
Oh,
The band. Yeah. I haven't listened to that band, and I don't know why. Maybe because the Common Eileen thing is not my thing, but the first records are really, really nice.
yeah.
So that's a good thing that happened in my week. And
So you never listened to them before?
I think I've listened to them, but I think I've listened just that hit, just like Common Eileen thing.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I don't like that song specifically, but the first record is amazing.
Huh. Well,
And I didn't, and I think he didn't. It wasn't it wasn't out when I was listening to music seriously. It's at 80s.
Yeah.
I think it's from the 80s. And
It's like 84, 85.
early 80s. Yeah.
Nice.
75, 80s. Yeah.
Well, that's fun.
Yeah.
Jared, how about yourself?
So this is
There it is.
So this is kind of a extension from the last podcast. I'm kind of adding on to my new project, and I needed an interface for my new Apple iPad that runs GarageBand. So I called my good buddy that runs a guitar shop in Fremont. Of course, he's closed down, but he made a special trip and shipped me this new interface. It's just I think it's been out for a while, but it's called Scarlett.
Tried and true, baby.
Scarlett 2i2 third generation USB audio interface. So it has two inputs for a guitar or something else, and it also has a headphone jack. Some cool bells and whistles on it and whatnot, but of course, my luck, I need a new adapter. So I had to order another adapter to make this work. You have to have a power source to run the interface, and then you have to have the right cord to plug it into the Apple, which is the Lightning.
We might want to talk
so-
after this show because I can really give some helpful advice on this whole situation.
Yeah, I'm going to be all ears because, to be honest, I'm struggling here just to trying to get something to work. I'm just brand new at this, so I just feel like I'm the new kid in the class when it comes to this kind of stuff.
I think we might actually be able to kill a couple birds with one stone, but we'll talk after, okay?
Right on, man. So that's kind of been my ordeal, but it's a lot of fun though.
Awesome.
How about you, Todd?
Well, it's music related. I'm going to take a cue from Diego here. So I had a birthday weekend that's gone on for a while because all the shipping is crazy. So every time that something comes in, we kind of have a little birthday party again.
Nice.
And I got a box that had a record player in it, and it was like, you know, my kids got it and they were just super excited, but it was a super cheap kind of, you know, one. But then they got a bunch of records, I guess, from a friend of ours who was giving them away, and it was like Elvis, Blue Hawaii. I think they're. I'm trying to remember some of the other ones, but the one of the ones that I was excited to put on, because I grew up listening to this on the car trips, was John Denver, and you know, a lot of he's for whatever reason, you know, he's always an easy target, like whenever people are talking about music and stuff. But I'm telling you, he made some good stuff. Some of it's a little sappy, but you know, I sat there and once they saw me getting all excited about it, everybody left the room and went downstairs and watched TV. And I sat there by myself with this little portable record player that didn't sound too good, listening to Rocky Mountain High. Man, that just hit me in the heart. You know, it's just good stuff. You can't.
Yeah,
it's undeniable. You're not human if you listen to that and you're like, I hate this.
Yeah, I know. My uncle's favorite artist was John Denver, and my dad used to play his songs all the time on the guitar, so that's what I learned.
Yeah.
So now when I go to the family reunion, they're like, "Hey, Jared, play that Denver tune." I'm like,
Yeah.
okay. And I play it, and everybody sings along, and it's like, when I'm at the reunion, I'm in a world where John Denver is awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of weird because it brought up like all kind of road trip memories and stuff. I was cooking the other day. I'm like, I got me old fiddle, got a cakes on the griddle. Life ain't nothing. You know, I'm just making food. You know? So I'm like, oh no.
Yes, the lyrics that are permanently burned into your brain.
Yeah. Sun's coming up. I got cakes on the griddle.
See?
It's like, how?
There
That's
you go.
not. It's great. So,
It
anyways, that's funny stuff. Considering, like, you know, what I play. Mostly, not that.
Maybe
but
that could be your next tribute band.
To everyone's demise. All right, let's have some of this action.
1, 2, 3. 4 on the floor.
All right, Diego Vila from Diego Vila Guitars. To give us your 4 on the floor.
Well, the first one, it will be a Sansamp bass driver. It's a thing that I've learned a lot after I started to play, that you have to have a preamp that can be plugged directly to the console, because every guy in a bar is going to be willing to not to mic your amp. So if you want to sound like a bass player, you have to have one. And Sansamp, it's I've saw it in a guy from a very strange English band who was playing in a very little pub in Madrid. I saw one on him and said, "What are you using?" Said, "This is a Sansamp." Explained me, and sounded real great for that. You're consistent with your sound through gigs and through places.
It's just so everybody knows, Diego's a bass player mostly, right?
Yeah, no, not mostly. Only a bass player. I'm a lousy guitar player. Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
You and Todd have a lot in common.
Yes.
No, I was just going to add that that Sansamp product. I mean, I've used the bass driver. I've got an acoustic DI.
Yeah.
That I don't know what magic they work over there, but it is. It's just as you said, a very consistent.
Yeah.
Pedal that gets a good signal, whether you're going into a board or even into a secondary amp. So they do a wonderful job at Tech 21.
Yeah. I don't know what they're doing, because it's all solid state. There's no valves, but it sounds valvely. I don't know. It's amazing.
And it's portable.
And it's portable. That's the good thing about it. That you can bring it to gigs and sound the same in every gig.
Exactly. That's a must-have for a bass player.
Yeah, absolutely.
What's number 2?
Number 2 will be, it's going to be after that, but it's a limiter enhancer, the LMV3 from Boss.
Okay.
It's all about consistency. I like to be a solid bass player. I know some part of the band relies on me, and what it does, it's one of the pedals that when you put it on, you say it is working, and it is. Dynamics in bass are very particular because high strings are really thin compared with low strings. So to have a consistent dynamic on a bass, you have to have or a limiter enhancer or a compressor to be solid, to be a solid bass player, and to I most of my life I've played in trios, so you have to be rock solid in a trio. Mm-hmm. So that will be it.
Okay.
So what made you choose a limiter as opposed to a compressor?
I don't know. I think it was cheaper
That's
at that time.
It was an economic situation.
Yeah. I needed something to say, okay, what's the thing? This is like 200 and this is like 75. Okay, I go with the 75. But it works really nice and it's very transparent. You don't hear anything that you don't need to hear. That's what I liked about it. Because a compressor can do strange things, not bad, and maybe you can have a good sound with a compressor, but with this one, the sound is really what you want to go, and this is only making you sound more solid.
Mm-hmm. We've talked about compressors so many times and sort of some of the mysteries about those and stuff. And on guitar, obviously, they can do very, very specific, very drastic things, or they can do things that are barely noticeable. But It's funny because you're the only person that's ever done Four on the Floor that's mentioned a limiter.
Yeah.
And to a certain degree, a lot of the purpose that people are using compressors might actually be more effective in a limiter.
Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, basically a limiter is essentially half a compressor. It just squashes the loudest parts of the signal.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wish I had one of those for you. See, I can't resist.
That's what the mute button is for.
All right. How about number 3?
Number 3 would be an electro harmonics, big muff for bass.
Ah.
That it's kind of cheating because I've never used that. I've never used that not because I didn't want to, but it's just because I've never been in a band who could be useful to have a driver or the big muff it's not a driver, it's a fuzz. Fuzzy bass. I really like fuzzy basses, but I've never been on a band who really needs that fuzzy bass.
Yeah, but you play that at home?
Yeah, but I don't play. The thing is, I only practice at home. I play guitar at home, but I'm really badly because I want to sing along.
Yeah.
Well, now that we're all being honest.
Yeah.
When you do hear a bass that's just slightly overdriven or fuzzy, there's something just awesome about that.
Yeah, but the thing is, with the Sense amp, you get the overdrive because I use the pedals always on, except for the fuzz, of course. But the thing is, you can get a little bit of overdrive with the Sense amp, with the bus driver, and that's what I like about it, because you have that little drive that pushes the bass through the band.
Gotcha.
But the thing is, like a very fuzzy bass, that's what I like a 60s psychedelic fuzzy bass. And I didn't have the chance to use it.
Well, you're going to have to find a solution for that.
Well, maybe the Chocolate Watch Band cover band or something.
There you go. How about number 4?
Number 4 would be a simple tuner. You have to be in tune.
Okay. And what kind of tuner are you choosing to go with?
Boss tuner. Simple, reliable, boss. You know?
Okay.
And replaceable too.
Yes. That
Yeah.
is true. You can get them anywhere and everywhere.
Yeah.
And bass players typically, especially if you have a really nice bass, it's not like you have to be sitting there tuning all the time. You got to be in tune to start out with, but I know.
Yeah, but when it happened that you're not in tune, you're not used to tune, as fast as a guitar player.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're what's happening? And everyone is looking at each other. I'm not. Yeah, you are.
Do you find that the TU2 tracks the bass, signals?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. There are some tuners that when you get in the low register, they just don't work well.
Not with this one.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, solid, man. I thank you for sharing your 4 on the floor. It's always interesting to hear from a bass player when it comes to the 4 on the floor. I know that there's a lot of bass players out there that listen to the show, and we'd like to get more on, so we appreciate that. Right before we jump into Diego's interview, we want to just give a quick shout out to John Finnell. He's a music producer and recording engineer who has been housing our podcast at his studio, Relay Recording. And,
nice.
Even though we're over and we're all in our own houses right now, a lot of our stuff is still over there, as is his. So we're all just trying to get by. But John is extra special at getting a fantastic guitar tone. He's a guitar player too. He actually did one of our 101s, which is so you're about to go record your guitar, and that's all the things that you might want to consider as you're about to do that. Very, very helpful and informational. So if you need John to help you find your best guitar tone for your band, check out johnfintel.com, JONFINTEL.com, and relayrecording.com. All right. Diego Vila. How you doing there?
Well, really fine. Thank you.
Good. We are happy that you are on the show. We're having a good time with you. Hopefully everybody is enjoying this so far. I know Jared is too. Yes, and Tony is too. Woohoo! I think maybe one of the biggest questions that we have is, how does a bass player decide to build pretty fantastic guitars? That's kind of weird, right? I mean, a little bit.
I don't know. It comes naturally. It's a little funny story about it. When I was in my late 20s, I was playing with the band that I had during most of my life, and I was in a gig feeling that things are not working out for us. So, and please don't get me wrong and don't judge me about that. So, in my head, at the same time that I'm playing, I'm thinking, this is not going anywhere. I have to quit the band. And without telling to the other guys who were playing at that time, I decided to quit the band in that same moment, in that very moment. So
is that in the middle of a gig?
It's not. No, I've decided in the middle of the gig, and I did it at the end of the gig. But the thing was that I said, okay, I don't need this bass anymore, and I throw the bass away, up, and go away, and I heard when I was going like bang, the bass banging on the floor. The guys were like, what the hell is going on here? So I explained it to them minutes after when we were in the backstage. So they understood somehow. And months later, I took the bass out of the case and saw it was broken. And somehow I felt, okay, it is broken. I'm not going to play anymore in my life. I was very angry about how the things were going on. And like 10 years later, I took the bass again, and somehow I felt I have to fix it. And that's how I started to build guitars, trying to fix the same bass that I broke 10 years ago.
Well, there you go.
That's certainly an interesting way
Healing
to start
the
building
bass and
guitars.
healing the bass and healing yourself.
Yeah, that was healing myself more than a bass.
So
that's it.
with all of your experience in the bass, do you think that being familiar with how that feels? I mean, it's obviously a very different feeling instrument to play. They look the same hanging on the wall, but anybody that's picked up both of them is like, well, this is really different. How do you think any of that has passed over into your guitar style that you've created?
The good thing about being a bass player is that you don't have a very good idea or a favorite guitar. You are out of your mind is more free to understand guitars and to hear what others are telling you, because you're not driven by yourself, if you know what I mean. You don't have anything to compare your guitar against when you touch it, when you play it.
Interesting.
Yeah, so there are not. You're like more free. So and the thing is that this style of guitar I do, this model, it's based on a bass, the shape. It's my take on the Firebird. Well, not Firebird. It's like Thunderbird bass.
Okay.
That's it. And the first thing I've did with this model, it's a bass.
So, and that's the Austral, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it.
And your guitar, what your, I guess maybe more familiar guitar shape that people would see is also the Austral as well, right?
Yeah. It's the one I'm trying to push the most.
Yeah.
Well, that's my personal favorite.
It's
and
beautiful.
Oh, thank you very much.
I think you are underselling it by calling it a Thunderbird, because I mean the extra carving that you do in that, and that's a beautiful, beautiful instrument.
Thank you.
Yeah, there's a lot of subtleties that are definitely in there that are definitely not on a Thunderbird.
Oh yeah, the idea, the whole idea is to make a classical looking guitar that if you don't know too much about guitars, you can say, okay, this is an old guitar or a guitar who has been made or designed in the 60s or the 50s. But if you know about guitars and if you understand guitars, you look at it and say, it cannot be made in the 50s.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's the trick.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because when I was talking with my kids are always coming in and saying like, oh, what they're getting familiar with guitars. I'll just say that.
Uh-huh.
They don't play them yet, but they know. I mean, I'm constantly looking at them and stuff, and
Mm-hmm.
they were a fan of yours as well. And I was just thinking it was interesting because they don't have any reference to what is old or what is new.
Yeah.
And I think that is something that you are striking a really nice balance of. It's not, it doesn't look old just to be, I guess maybe for the sake of looking old.
Yeah.
It's obviously drawing on certain stylings, but it's not like token.
Yeah.
It's matched up very nicely with like a very modern feel as well. So and that's difficult to do, I think.
Yeah, I don't know. It's my aim. It's what I wanted to do. It doesn't come easy because I've done a lot of things before this, and none of those were, I don't know, so appealing. But the thing is that by basing your designs in old designs, I mean, it's an electric guitar, I'm not trying to invent anything new, and I really like it as it is. So when you want to interpret something that it's old and it's established, you have to do. You don't have to move away so far to do something appealing. You know,
Yeah.
that's the thing.
Yeah, yeah. You're just drawing some inspirations. You don't have to say, well, I have to do something completely different than this. You can just say, I'm going to take that and take some inspirations, combine them, and make my own thing.
Yeah, that's it. It's like the carvings. The carvings are supposed. What I was trying to do is to do the arm contour of the Stratocaster and the belly cut, but in a way that it seemed in between the carving. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
It's functional, but at the same time, it's aesthetical.
Yeah, well, what's interesting, so anybody that hasn't taken a look at this just yet, there is, I think you just brought up a really good point, which is your aesthetic. It feels very very centered and very singular in a good way. You're not all over the place, is what I mean.
Yeah.
And so when you're referencing the belly cut is usually like really smoothed out, and it's usually really deep. And you know, unless the light is hitting it just right, it's sometimes it's almost hard to see.
Yeah.
But your belly cut is more almost like a German carve.
Yeah, well, I mean, the edging is definitely German carve influence.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
I mean, the back is a nice. I mean, it's rather than being really smoothed over. I think that it retains a little bit of sharpness,
Yeah.
so that you can actually see the contouring. I think.
yeah, it's like it's been routed, not just sanded.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it.
Well said, Todd.
Thank you. So one thing that you brought up, which is reference, and this, I think this is kind of fascinating to me. Having gone through art school, I had several exercises that helped me be able to detach my brain from what my brain wanted to do. And that is the reference thing. So because you're a bass player, you're approaching guitar building without almost like a predefined reference of what that is. So I appreciate that about your design.
When you're designing, you have to take into account certain parameters of the design that you have to not to leave behind, because the guitar will be unplayable.
Right.
But as long as you have that, and as long as you have made some choices about what you want to achieve sound-wise, in my head, you can do wherever you want.
So, Diego, one of the things that I absolutely love about your design is something that Tony might be also admiring. Tony, you want to talk about the pickguard at all?
Oh, yeah, I did notice that. So you're doing a bound guard, on essentially a solid body guitar.
Yeah, it's kind of tricky because it's not made of pickguard material. It's made of a thin sheet of cellulose acetate.
Oh, acetate. Okay.
And glued into wood, into maple wood, a thin layer of maple wood, and backed by. Do you know this material that is used to prototype circuits, electrical circuit, that is fiberglass with a thin layer of copper?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that material, it's backing all the rest to give it rigidity.
Wow, that's impressive.
Copper underneath?
Yeah.
We're seeing copper?
Well, it's a
Yeah,
copper back
copper.
PC board type.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so that is it can be used as shielding too.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, so the actual pickguard, it's like 5 millimeters thick.
Oh, okay.
And I inlaid it into the guitar.
Oh,
That's
wow.
cool.
Holy
Yeah, that's
smokes.
why-
See,
that's why-
we can't
yeah.
see that on the pictures. Ooh.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's one of the
Complicated pickguard
details.
I've ever seen in my life.
Now, that's
It
a
is.
serious detail.
Yeah. That's one of the things I was talking about when I say, when you look at the guitar closely, and if you know how guitars are built, you can say this is not made 40 years ago, because
Yes.
because with the tooling they had 40 years ago, they wouldn't be able to do that on a consistent basis.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
That's
speaking
that's
of,
a thing that only comes with CNC.
okay, so are you using CNC equipment on your?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Now, I'm also a fan of. This is one of those things that it tricks people that don't know how things are made. But I look and now we're looking specifically. I'm looking right now specifically at the Austral guitar, and you've got like a herringbone around bound the binding on the pick guard.
Yeah.
Now, Tony, you might be like, whatever, that's easy. I don't know. Maybe that's really hard. Is it easy? I don't know. But it looks awesome.
Bound guards are really difficult to do. I mean, they are, that's what sets, a lot of times they're on archtop guitars, jazz boxes and that sort of thing. And because they're, hard to make, they're expensive to make generally. And it's a very nice touch on what you're doing.
Yeah, thank you.
Is the herringbone harder or less?
I try to use I do a lot of tests on how to bound, because a lot of things breaks. So you have to do very specifically, because you have to unglue the binding. It's not a binding, but unglue the herringbone pattern, unglue it and glue it again. Because if you use it as it is, it won't bend.
Well, you should. Well, I'll give you some tips.
Okay.
Because I do make a lot of bound guards.
Okay.
And I'll kind of walk you through some of the things that I do with bound guards that might make it a little bit easier for you.
Oh,
nice.
Yeah.
I can't share that on the podcast, though.
No, it's top secret. Yeah.
Very, very special stuff. So you've got a bunch of other models that you're doing too, but you were saying, I think you've probably got the most notoriety going for that Austral, especially the gold one. So, Diego, we know that trying to get your guitars in view of more people, which can sometimes be difficult if you're not over here stateside, I think you made your way over to NAMM. You want to talk about that?
Oh, yes. Well, NAMM is the greatest show on earth. One more can be said, because I've been in a couple of shows, but nothing compared to NAMM. And I was sick as hell. Trying to stay in one piece, but I really enjoyed it, because I've never been to United States until last year, and I went to Chicago. But the thing is, I really like the way of I don't know how to say, the character of American people. They're really open, and they express what they want. It's not like in other countries. In Sweden, they don't talk to you. When you're in no. I'm not kidding.
I know, I've been there. I know what you mean.
I went a couple of it's okay. I mean, they are like they are, but for me, being from Spain, it's kind of puzzling when someone passes you by on your booth and looks at the guitar very interesting, and you look at him like, okay, what do you have to tell me? And they don't say anything. It's like, mystery. Yeah. What's going on?
They're dreaming of meatballs.
Yeah, mostly.
Way to sum up an entire country with one thing. No offense to our Swedish friends out there.
Or the Swedish chef. Bursty. That's
like half of my heritage, so thanks, Tony.
You're welcome. I'm glad to insult you. How about, have you ever considered doing Music Messe in Frankfurt?
Well, the thing with Music Messe is that when I started to go into shows and for advices from my friends, Messe was on the downward slope. So there were more interesting shows going on. So I decided to go to that other shows. Like, do you know the Holy Grail Guitar Show?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been there. I've been there last year. Last edition wasn't last year, and it's great. For me, it's way better than Music Mesa.
Yeah, I think sometimes the shows get so big that if you're a relatively small displayer, you kind of get lost in the shuffle. I mean,
Yeah.
even at the Winter NAMM show is
Yeah.
is maybe a little too big sometimes, but
Yeah.
but I
Well,
know Mesa is definitely bigger.
NAMM is doing a very interesting thing about boutique guitar builders, because they have where I was a boutique guitar showcase.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a thing that it's a new thing that NAMM is making, and it's better for the small builders. I cannot go with more than 4 or 5 guitars on the NAMM. It's crazy. I cannot do so many guitars. I'm working on my own. So that kind of thing is the thing that allows the small builders to go to NAMM.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Did you happen to run across Frank Daimel when you were at?
We are very good friends.
Oh, that's awesome! I like to hear
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
I love
yeah,
to see
yeah,
it. It's
yeah,
like
yeah.
it's kind of like when you think about TV shows and you're like, you wonder if people are friends outside the show.
Yeah.
And it's like that's nice.
Yeah,
'Cause
yeah.
Frank's our good friend too, and we like him a lot.
Yeah,
so-
yeah.
That's pretty fun.
He makes amazing guitar.
Oh man, yeah. Someday we're gonna have a knob European vacation. I think that's gonna have to happen. And that would be fun.
Interesting.
We can go
I
see
like
all of
that.
our friends over there
Yeah.
for sure.
And
So-
a legitimate tax write-off too.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Also,
Now you're talking my language.
yeah. So Diego,
Yeah.
how many guitars are you basically able to build in a year?
Yeah, it depends, but I think that the most when if I'm not finishing the guitars, if I outsource the finishing, I'll be able to do like 30 to 35.
Okay.
That's pretty good. Is this your full time?
Yeah.
That's not your full time job, right?
Yeah, it is.
It is your
But-
full-time job.
Yeah, but it takes time. Binding the picker and all this, and it's for me it's a very good number. I work just on my own. I don't have any helpers.
Wow.
Right.
That's neat. The reason I was surprised is because what I'm finding is that fewer and fewer people have this as their sole, I guess a job.
I do repairs too, and setups. Not right now because of the COVID and things, but
Yeah.
I do. But it's the only mean of earning money I have.
Yeah.
Sure.
I get you.
So, tell us about the guitar community in Spain.
Okay. Well, we have a lot of Spanish guitar builders, of course. The most sought after are there, but on the electric side of things, I'm in an association called LUCE, LUCE. That is it's the Spanish Association of Electric Guitar Builders, and we are about like 20 or something like that.
Oh, that's
And
cool.
there are a lot of people making really, really interesting stuff in Spain.
So, another question I had was is it really easy to get select woods there?
In Spain, yeah. It is easy because we have the tradition of making musical instruments.
Right.
And we have a couple of dealers, of specialized dealers on musical wood that are really, really nice. Do you know a shop called Matt Inter?
I'm not familiar with it.
No.
Yeah, it's they have a ebony plantation in Africa associated with Bob Taylor from Taylor Guitars.
Ah, okay.
Right.
So, and they are like, I don't know, 30 kilometers, 40 kilometers away from my home. So I go there personally to choose personally the wood. So it's really easy for me that.
Yeah,
nice.
Another guitar builder I know locally said, yeah, ebony's kind of hard to get in the United States. I think he said that about 3 or 4 years ago, but I'm not sure what the case is now. But yeah, I was just kind of wondering.
It depends on where you live too.
Right. Yeah. Laws and.
So speaking of woods, I noticed that you have using traditional, mahoganies and things like that on most of your models, but on the Austral guitar, at least, you're using a pine body. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah. Well, do you know that I think your word that Leo Fender used pine for his first Telecaster.
Yeah, the snakehead. Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah. So that was around my head. That was in my head for a long time, and I don't know why. One day I decided to use pine, and I really, really like it.
It's an easy wood to work with, and it's relatively light too.
Yeah. It is.
And inexpensive.
And inexpensive, and sound-wise, it's very interesting because it's brighter than swamp ash, but it's more or less on that ballpark.
Mm-hmm.
What about the necks?
And it? Huh?
Sorry, I interrupted you. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
You were going to.
It relates too with pine because spruce and I know there are woods in violins and cellos and that are related to pine.
Mm-hmm. Well, that makes sense. It is a musical wood. Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Is that the most popular wood that the Spanish builders are using, or is that just you?
No, I think no. It's just a thing that I use. Most of builder are used like traditional electric guitar wood, like mahogany, alder. I know
maple,
swamp ash. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, tell us about what you're doing with your necks.
Well, I've started to use pau ferro for the fretboard that I've never that I didn't use before, and I really like it. And I really would like to use cedar for the necks. That's a thing that in Spanish guitars are used. I know that some builders use cedar for the necks, but I'm really scared to use it because I don't know if it's strong enough to.
Yeah, I would think because it would definitely be more on the softer side. I guess it would be as soft, maybe a little softer than mahogany. It is indeed.
That's why I don't know if I'm chickening out or what.
Oh, just do it. Just do it.
Yeah. Maybe using a carbon fiber reinforcement will make
that might help. Have you ever used Grenadillo for fingerboards? I know that's pretty common.
No. There's a lot of Grenadillo here available, but I don't know. I like the I like the strikes of in wood.
Yeah.
Even if they are subtle like in rosewood, but I like it.
Mm-hmm.
The ebony I use is striped ebony.
Okay.
It's not all black.
I like that.
Yeah.
So, Diego, as we are outroing out of our interview, is there, you mentioned this group that you're in Spain.
Yeah.
Is there anybody that specifically you think like we should really start to learn about?
Oh, yes, indeed. I can draw a couple of them. Well, there is a very good friend of mine and a very good builder that is called Alejandro Ramirez, and has a brand called O3 Guitars.
O3?
O3, yeah. You should check it out because he does very peculiar things. It's another kind of style that I have, but he's very, very good at it. So there's another very, very, very good friend of mine and very good guitar builder is Fernando Alonso. from Jaén Guitars.
High
It's a
end.
jazz guitar. Jaén, yeah, Jaen.
Okay.
Yeah, they're jazz guitars, like 16, 17 inches and serious jazz guitars.
Yeah.
And another one will be not Spanish, but Portuguese, will be Daniel Rodriguez from Daro Guitars, Daro.
Daro guitars. Okay.
Yeah. Very, very neat guitars.
All right. Well, that's fun.
Yeah.
So we can go learn
Yeah.
about what
Oh,
you guys
yeah.
are doing over there.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
thank you.
Well, Diego, we are really grateful that you've been spending time with us, telling us about your
Thank you.
guitars and your builds. I highly encourage everybody to go check those out as soon as you can on Instagram and on the internet. I think you will be delighted with what you see. And it's tough with builders that are out of our states because it's harder to get a hold of those. And sometimes a place like NAMM is the only place that you can really do that. So I hope that as we progress forward, that we get more opportunities, because I know there's an entire, like, the European Guild of Guitars, the European Guitar Builders Group. There's tons of guitar players that will never get the chance to feel or hold or see in person their guitars. But some of the bigger shows, I hope that there's more opportunity for that. Jared?
Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, it's come to the point of the show where I sing a nice little jingle, and it goes a little something like this. Would you rather? So this week's Would You Rather is brought to us by one of our executive producers, Adam Johnson. And he's a new executive producer, so thank you, Adam. And he asks us this. If you were forced to only have one brand of pedal for the rest of your life, and of course you have to choose, because this is Would You Rather. The two brands are Boss and Electro Harmonics. And you can have their complete line. What brand out of those two would it be? Would you rather have Boss or Electro Harmonics? And you have to be stuck with it forever.
Wow. Oof. That's a tough one. Let me see here. Tony Baloney.
Wow. Okay. So, I mean, I really like some of the really avant-garde pedals that Electro Harmonics has put out. But I think in terms of consistency and variety, I think I'm going to go with the Boss lineup, because there are so many different pedals that they put out. I mean, I imagine they have hundreds of different pedals over the course of time here. And they make some pretty good stuff. I mean, they're to me, Boss has always been kind of like the baseline for effects pedals. And people have taken those Boss designs and, made some changes internally, whatever, and have made some improvements and what have you. But I think the baseline has always been kind of the Boss lineup. So I'm going with Boss.
Jared?
Yes. So,
how about
some
you,
of my
Jared?
a lot of my logic is the same as Tony's on that, but I own both brands. I have a nice reverb pedal from Electro Harmonics, and I also have that one of the first stereo units ever out. Boss did a reissue of that, and so yeah, it's kind of tough for me too. But I would go with Boss. I mean, they just have an enormous variety of different effects and stuff like that. I think I can live with that, So, Boss.
All right. Diego?
Well, even being the big muff, the pedal that I've never have the chance to use, I will go with Boss.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Because the guys know what they're doing, and I couldn't live. I think now I couldn't live without my limiter and hazer pedal.
Interesting.
They make a hell of a tuner, I'm told.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, that puts me in a weird position. I'm just gonna say.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's I'm gonna give a couple things here. Number one,
Okay.
The form factor of the Boss has always been very desirable. They nailed the stomp, right? Indestructible pedals. However, for me personally, the tones that I've gotten out of my Boss pedals, for some reason, seem controlled. I don't know how else to explain it, but I always feel like I wish I could get a little bit more uncontrolled sound out of this. Now, I'm sure people are like just wanting to throw things at me right now for saying that, but yes, they have an incredible range, but I don't feel like I get anything like unusual or it's always exactly what I think it's going to be, which in most cases when you're buying a product that is super desirable.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But there's like a bit of an unhinged factor, like I think it's going to do this if you're going with the electro harmonics, and they obviously tend to go out on the way left on a lot of things. Some of them are almost borderline totally unusable.
Yeah.
And the form factors, I got to admit, I can't stand the knobs on electro harmonics. I absolutely hate those knobs. They're the worst. I'm just going to say that. Sorry, electro harmonics. Those knobs suck. But I'm going to go with electro harmonics because I like the ability that I could grab things that I was like, I need this to do this one very specific thing and just do that. So I'm gonna go for that because there's just a wild card factor to that.
Yeah, Todd. I mean, I see what you're getting at with the Boss pedals. I think they maybe have a predefined set of parameters that they're going for, and maybe there are some limitations in terms of how the things are engineered. But I think they're going for a maybe safe range. That might be a good way to put it.
That's fair.
But I do I have to say the electro harmonic stuff on some of their models, there is kind of this unpredictability or wonkiness that is kind of fun to play with too. So,
yeah. And by unpredictable, we're not meaning like, is this going to work or not? It's just like some of the sounds you get that's the unpredictable.
Right.
So, yes, just put some better knobs on it, guys, for Pete's sakes.
Todd's all about the knobs.
Oh, man.
Yep, that's what matters.
The worst. All right, that was super fun. Tony,
Yes.
we got a couple people to thank.
Yes, we do have some people to thank. These would be our executive producers. Ooh. Now, somebody's out there saying, what's an executive producer? And by golly, how do I get to be one? It's very simple. Go over to patreon.com/theguitarknobs. And you can find out a couple of different levels in which you can participate, becoming a patron of this very podcast. Each level comes with its own bevy of prize packages, including things like barefoot buttons and T-shirts and stickers and picks and
Keychains
and giveaways.
Yes.
Oh my goodness, you become qualified for giveaways at all levels. Woohoo! But at this executive producer level, you get all that great stuff. But there's one very special thing that you get. And Jared, what is that?
You get to have your name read on the thing.
Your name read on the thing. And that's what I'm going to do right now. So without further ado, I would like to thank these executive producers. Tom Barazin, Martin Cliff, John Daly, Chris Carney, Darren Gregory, Doug Christ, Michael Van Zant, Ken Sayers, Brian Robison, Michael Senchuk, Stefan Lamb, Johnny Knowles, Anthony Lathrop, John Anglin, Tyler Bray, Brad Partridge, Chris Heidel, John Esterly, Tim Nowak, Doug Gann, Justin Jones, Brett Alexander, James White, Matt Hart, James Pennington, Adam Johnson, Mark Garton, and Steve Keys.
Yes.
But wait,
Huh?
there is a level that is just a step above executive producer, and those would be our grand poobahs. Woohoo! So a tip of the old fez to our good friends and grand poobahs, Mr. Jonathan Jerusik, Corey Nigro, David Kaminga, Cody Lane, Cody Foster, Sean S.
Yes.
And Tommy Manasco. Thank you to each and every one of you. And if I haven't read your name and you're a patron, we thank you too.
All right. Well, boy, oh boy, I love hearing that list. Makes me feel good. Makes me feel happy. Makes us feel loved.
And it's as long as I've been involved with this, I mean, it has grown significantly. So it just means it's a privilege to be able to thank that large of a group of people who are supporting us on a monthly, daily, and weekly basis.
It is, and it truly helps out. All right, gentlemen, Diego, where can people find you?
Well, they can find me on Instagram on Diego Vila Custom Guitars and on my website, guitarsdiegovila.com.
All right, Tony.
Let's just say you need a special pick guard. You're changing out pickups. Maybe you need a bound pick guard like we were talking about earlier. Shoot over to pickguardian.com. Shoot me an email. Let me know what you need. I will be very, very happy to take care of you. We'll make sure that it's done right and done well.
Yummy. Jared?
Yes, if you are in need or want some pickups, go to brandonwoundpickups.com. I got a special limited run going with some 1959 clones with some really cool age covers. I've got 14 sets left out of 25. And if you need a rewind or anything like that, I do those too, and I'm pretty quick at that. So give me an email.
Right on.
But Instagram too to see cool stuff.
That's true. Good pickups over there at Jared's shop, as well as pick guards at Tony's shop. I don't want to leave you out, Tony. You can drop me an email, Todd at theguitarknobs.com. You can also direct message me on Instagram at guitarknobs. We love to hear would you rathers that you send in, and just a general hi, how you doing? Also, on that note, I just wanted to give a quick shout. Justin Jones, who's a new one of our new patrons, he shot me a note. He said, "Hey, Todd, it's executive producer Justin Jones. I've been building guitars as a hobby for a few years now. I've decided to sell this latest build to benefit COVID relief. Please consider sharing with your listeners." He's also a great supporter of the community. I think he set up a fund for Brian Nutter, who was having a really, really hard time with his health. So go over to, you can see what this looks like. It's pretty unique looking, pretty neat. So Justin Motander Jones is the Instagram, and you can check out this guitar, and he's gonna be giving this 100% of the proceeds go to COVID relief. That's pretty awesome. So thanks, Justin Jones, for setting that up. He's got a bunch of other cool builds and great. He's got a nice little Instagram going, so you should go check it out. So, anyways, we're grateful for people like him in the community who reach out to us to share, and also Jonathan Jerusik is building pedals now, and he's gonna offer up something cool. It's gonna be coming. I'm just saying. So, anyways, I love hearing about all these people that are building, that are friends of the show, that are inspired by things, inspired by the builders that we have on, and hearing from stories like the ones that all of you send in. So, much thanks. Diego Vila, we're super happy that you were able to be on our show.
Really happy to be here too.
Yeah, it was a real pleasure talking with you, and our door is always open to you. So please stay in touch, and make sure everybody you go check out his guitars. Make sure you also have a great guitar week. Stay safe, stay happy, and subscribe.
Yeah.
Bye.
That's better.
Test 1, 2, 3. I am the Eggman. Goo goo gajoob.
Is that a euphemism or?
I'm your Uncle Jared.
Yeah, that sounds like a great idea.
I'm in a world where John Denver is awesome.
I'm your Uncle Tony.
I would just use the duct tape and put it on my own mouth.
Well, that's it for these knobs. Please visit our Patreon page at patreon.com/theguitarknobs. Visit our website at theguitarknobs.com for all of our past episodes, 4 on the Floor blog, and other good stuff. You can connect with us on social too at our Facebook page and share your gear and stories on our Facebook group. Also, be sure to check out our Instagram at Guitar Knobs. Catch you next time.